As per my understanding, in this question, it was clearly mentioned that there are few points to be focused. It is globally distributed team, like there is a diverse number of mindset of the people. We have a fixed budget, tight deadlines. So mentioning these two, three things in the mind, if any changes to go ahead, this one we need to go under the formal approval processes, any changes to make it, rather than as mentioned in the B, daily stand-ups, which will be informal way of communication, and that's why I have chosen A over rest all of the options.
Okay, wonderful. Anyone else who wants to explain why A and why not B, C, or and D? By the way, in this question, people select C and D very often for the reason that they are coming from their organizational mindset. That in this kind of situation, we used to do C and D to control like the team in the project. So why not C and D and maybe B? Hamad, you want to explain?
May I?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. First, the main catch is that it's a traditional project, so there's option of B and is ruled out. There's no agile, so daily stand-ups option is being you can say eliminated. Disallow interaction with the team of stakeholders is not possible because uh, stakeholders directly interact with the teams in agile in you can say sprint reviews, so that option is also being cancelled out, as it say that it's need the project manager need to avoid the scope creep and the team focus on the meeting the requirements. So if any changes comes from, then it go from the formal approval process, and the team cannot prepare the detailed requirement at a moment. That's why.
Thank you, Hamad. So, see, this is a question where the project is uh, globally uh, distributed, is with globally distributed team. The budget and the timeline are very fixed, tight, which is a very, very common scenario in the practical world where you always get to know from your manager that we have tight budget, we have tight timelines, we have tight resources, the schedule, and this and that. What does that mean in a project management like this? It means that you don't have acceptable deviation with respect to your baseline. And this is clearly a predictive project because they are talking about the scope creep. Scope creep happens in, uh, in predictive projects, and they are talking about the project managers and as well. So, like the idea is that it's uh, it's predictive project. Also, the tight deadline and budget is fixed. Also, is directly that it's predictive project. Avoiding the scope creep is kind of a risk management, and that can only happen when you follow all the changes with respect to scope or any other changes in schedule, resource, and budget via following the formal change control mechanism. Zero tolerance means you do not have even any acceptable deviation or tolerances available for schedule, resource, and budget, which also makes it like even a stringent thing to take care of with respect to management. And any change in the scope outside baseline, if team is going to start working on it, it's going to be scope creep. It's going to cost you resource, it's going to cost you timeline, it's going to cost you budget, which you are already tight on. So how you can avoid that? It's not even about mitigating, it's about avoiding. Avoidance is only by keeping every change by a formal change control mechanism. If has to be done, accommodate in the baseline and project management plan. If it can't be done, reject it and nobody's going to work on it. Why not be? For the same reason that this is not exact. Like why and even if it is like hybrid or so, daily stand up with the development team is like only about what I'm going to do today, what I have done yesterday, and what are the different problems that I may need to face. That's it. How does that avoid scope creep? How does that ensure that you are not going to accept additional changes in the product? You need to talk about the root cause analysis. See asking all the development team leads to prepare the detailed requirements. Doesn't matter. Even if you are going to prepare the detailed requirements, no matter how detailed, how accurate, how well defined the requirements are, doesn't guarantee that scope creep is not going to happen. What if the customer is going to make a call to one of your team members and is going to say that please do this change. It's like a minor change. It's not going to cost you anything. It's like just a few hours of your work. Even when C is done, well established requirement, but your team is not aware of the process. So C is not going to help, not going to solve the problem from the D is for the same reason, rule out. Disallow stakeholders from directly interacting with the developer. You do not disallow members to not speak with this, to not talk to this, to not sit with this. This is micromanagement. This is not a right way to avoid scope creep. The right way of avoiding scope creep is to give the right awareness of the change management process to your team, especially the project team members, ideally all the stakeholders, but more specifically the project team members. And secondly, tell them that if any change outside the scope baseline or the specification documents that you are working in, you bring that, even if it is coming to you. Ideally, it should not be coming to you, but if it is coming to you, bring that to the knowledge of project manager and leave that to him. That is going to solve the problem to some extent, and rest of the solution lies with the project manager, that he should be putting that through the formal change control. Right? So disallowing someone to not speak to someone is never a success. Not in this situation, neither in any other. This is micro